Yeah, let us start with the recording. In the name of the Almighty God, the most gracious and most merciful, I send peace and blessings to everyone. I would like to appreciate everyone for being here today, because there are so many places where you could be right now, but always sacrifice your precious time to always ensure that whenever you see such reminders of the sessions we have, you always make it a point, despite your schedule, to always fix time so that you always and endlessly listen to this information, get more understanding. Definitely, with the understanding and knowledge, then we get what we call wisdom. So we really thank God for all of that, and mainly we thank Him for the gift of life. Because I, Arafat, and you, my dear friends on this call right now, we never made any agreement with God that we have to be alive today. Very many people's lives have ended today. Very many people's lives are going to end tomorrow. No one has a guarantee. But for God to always ensure that we are well, obviously, you can't be 100% fine. But for God to decide and say that, Arafat, I've given you life. Arafat, I've given you life. If this has happened in your life for 40 years, maybe you are 40 years, maybe you are 20 years, maybe you are 50 years, every single day, God has been giving you an opportunity so that you can really do something of great value and impact. So I'm really glad that we are all alive and we are doing one of the most important things. If you look at the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible, God always commands us to seek for knowledge and understanding. That is how important knowing something is. One of the greatest and brilliant minds the world has ever had, known as Isaac Newton, once said. So before I say what he said, is my screen visible, Mr. Joshua? You can use a reaction. Are you seeing my screen? Because that is also very important. I want to proceed when I'm very confident about that. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. So, members, I was telling you that after understanding that both the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran, they emphasize seeking knowledge and understanding. One of the greatest minds the world has ever had, called Isaac Newton, he once said, what you know is a drop, D-R-O-P, like a water drop. What, Mr. Joshua, you know, what Arafat I know is a drop. He finished and said, what we do not know is an ocean. Is an ocean. This means that if it's a lake, for example, you just take your jerrycan to get water. It's just a jerrycan. You haven't emptied the whole lake, meaning that there is very much water in the lake. It's the same thing. With knowledge and understanding, what Arafat I know, I can testify, my dear friends. Every day, God has enabled me that I learn something new every day. Every day, I keep on learning. So that is why even in our professions, they advise us to be flexible, because the generation that we are in requires flexibility. Today, maybe you might know that this is the way how they do this, but things are evolving and changing at a high rate because of the technological era that we are in. Every day, a mind creates something, they build things, meaning that you need to be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's very important. So don't forget that quote by Isaac Newton. May he so rest in peace. What you know is a drop. What you do not know is an ocean. So, members, let's make sure that we are muted. Your microphone should be off. Yes, thank you very much. So this is part 8 of the ultimate Utrading technical session. So far, we have looked at the first 7 episodes. Let me show you here. If you go to the YouTube channel of Coach Ssebadduka Arafat, if this is your first time here, or maybe if you have already been a member, we have this YouTube channel of Coach Ssebadduka Arafat. We have been uploading various videos explaining cryptocurrencies, explaining trading, and very many other videos concerning or concentrating on the financial markets, mainly the cryptocurrency market and the trading artificial intelligence robot. So if you look at the current video on top, it shows part 7, meaning that we had part 6, meaning that we had part 5, meaning that we had part 4, meaning that we had part 3, meaning that we had part 2, and meaning that we had part 1. So we are going to be having part 8 of the ultimate trading technical session. And members, we are really very glad. We are really very humbled. And definitely we should be more appreciative because we always have members that sacrifice their time and say that we are going to record these sessions. So we have Mr. Joshua, who's on this call with us tonight, who's going to ensure that members that have not attended this session tonight do not miss out anything later on, maybe after 1 year, maybe after 6 months, maybe after 1 week, maybe after 1 day. Someone will land on this video and make great impact. As it is right now, if you look at 1 year ago, I made some tutorials, but they're still helping the people around. Personally, Arafat, I watch videos of the late Jim Rohn. But imagine, I watch videos for 30 years back, 50 years back, 15 years back, because those videos were recorded and kept well. So we have a great advantage that we have people here, Mr. Joshua and Mr. Buga, who always make sure that we receive such content, receive such videos with no interruptions, that even if you have been on this call, but you miss out something, maybe you are listening to me right now, but you are kind of up and down. Your mind is not at ease. After the recording, when we upload it on the YouTube channel, you can always watch at your own pace. So tonight, it's the part 8 of the ultimate trading technical session. And previously, if you allow me, we looked at the rewards hub, then we looked at the profit part. So you are going to allow me tonight to explain to you the invest control. Invest means that you are sowing, you are planting, investing, you are putting in efforts, something that you really put into anything. It might be your emotions, it might be your energy, it might be your time, it might be your money. You are investing. So invest and control. Control means that you need to manage something. How can you manage your investment? This is what basically the invest control is talking about. It is like saying that human beings, we have our weaknesses. Let me mention some of them. Some people, most of the people, let me not even say some, most of the people get angry easily. Most of the people do not want to, most of the people do not want to be asked questions. People do not want to be asked for accountability. So such things, we have our different weaknesses. Your weakness might be maybe presenting, maybe completing a task, maybe worshiping God, anything. But this time we are looking at how can you control your investment in cryptocurrencies and the trading robot of Utrading, which is an artificial intelligence trading robot. So we are going to look at the invest control, meaning that this is going to cover also what we call the risk management. This is going to cover one of the most important topics known as risk management, because invest control is part of risk management. Don't forget that we're on the part 8 of the ultimate Utrading technical session. And don't forget that this is not the first technical session we have ever had. And it is not going to be the last technical session we are going to be having, God willing. Amen. So as we know that in trading, you always hear the word risk management. Like any business, at times, this is not even at times. Most of the times, the reason why very many businesses do not excel or do not become successful, the reason is the risk management. Because every business has its ups and downs. And if you do not understand the ups and downs of the business that you're doing, I can guarantee you, my dear friend, that you won't be successful in the business that you're doing. So if you're currently doing a business that you really do not know about, maybe you might be already making some profits, and at times making the profits blind people's eyes. You might think that that is how things are going to be moving on, my dear friend. Even God tells us this in the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran. We have what we call the seasons. We have the bad seasons and we have the good seasons. Take an example. God gave us a perfect example. If you look at the life of Prophet Joseph, known as Yusuf, alayhi salam, in the Islamic faith, Prophet Joseph, when he was interpreting the dream to the ruler of Egypt by that time, you know how the dream was? The dream was there are going to be good seasons and bad seasons of famine. So he advised them that during the good seasons, we need to ensure that we use and take maximum advantage of the good opportunities. We save the food in the granaries, we fill the granaries so that when the famine comes in, we have food in stock. That is one of the examples. Look at the Holy Quran. God says that. If you look at the surah, it's the 6th surah called Surah Al-Anam, the cattle. God says that. God describes at a certain point and says that he was telling Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He said that we sent messengers before you, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon you. And those messengers were denied. And God said that, and they were patient through the effects of denial. And God proceeded and told Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and said that they were patient through the effects of denial, and they were harming, they were harmed until God's victory came upon them. My dear friends, when you're listening to these stories from the Bible and the Quran, don't be biased that if you listen something from the Quran, it doesn't relate to the Bible. Because all prophets, even you look in the Bible, look at Jesus Christ. He was denied. He was denied. He was patient through the effects of denial. He suffered the abuses, the physical harm, the effects which God is talking about. And he said that until the victory of God came upon them. And we all know victory came later on. Look at the number of Christians we have in the world. Look at the number of Muslims we have. Because the Christianity or Islam would have stopped with the death of Prophet Muhammad or Jesus Christ, but we are still proceeding. So it's the same thing. So now, members, I was relating to this point. If you do not understand your business, I guarantee you, you are not going to excel. You might be making profits right now. Time is going to come, the tough times, and you will complain. You will say that this business doesn't work for me. You will shift, and you'll have made the wrong decision. So if I click invest control, for us to understand this, Papa, leave me alone. So let me log into an account because I want to show you this thing clearly. Allow me to do so. Let me check. Let me get one Binance account that is connected to Utrading because I really want to explain to you something in a more structured and in depth because that is why we are here tonight. So if I click the invest control, the risk management, how can you manage the risk management? And this is very important for someone who does what we call futures trading. Futures trading means reading the language of the market and understanding what is going to happen next. It is like how the experts in finance determine and speculate what is going to happen. If they know that Iran and USA and Israel combined attacking Iran, what will come? What is going to happen? And Iran is also going to backfire to attack Israel and Iran. As an expert in finance, they know that the oil prices will have to increase in value. And very many other factors. The costs of living have to become high. It's the same thing this side. So if you click invest control, the risk management, I was saying this is very important for someone doing futures trading. Though even spot trading has its parts. Why do I always say futures trading? Because futures trading, as I told you, read the language of the market, you understand the market movements. For example, if I come to my MetaTrader 5, you need to be, what I mean by the language of the market, I mean the candlesticks. This is what I mean. You need to know when, for example, when a hammer happens, what is going to happen? If a shooting star is being created in the market, what's going to happen? If we get a bullish harami, a bearish harami, what is going to happen? This is what it means to understand the language of the market. You need to understand these. The candlesticks that you see in color green and color red, they represent something. And if you do not understand the language of the market, really, you will be affected, especially for those doing manual trading. But we know with you trading, even if you do not understand the language of the market, you can be profitable because that is why we have you trading AI. You don't need to analyze the markets when it's in existence. So I always say futures trading because it has quite high risks. If you look at the risks in spot and the risks in futures, definitely you see that futures, people have lost a lot of money in futures compared to spot because the only risk or one of the risks that you can face in spot trading is this. If you deal with a wrong crypto exchange and it closes, you might lose your funds entirely, permanently, because you won't be able to access your funds. We saw that with an exchange called, let me not forget its name because even I was a victim, called Hotbit. It closed and we lost our money. That might be the first thing which might make you have a risk in sport. The second thing is if a cryptocurrency that you are bought to hold for long term is delisted, we always get to hear that word delisting. Cryptocurrency exchanges always carry out what we call the delisting process. And it's a process which cryptocurrency exchanges go through to ensure that cryptocurrencies that are on its exchange or platform, they are genuine, they really have plans for long term, and they're solving problems. Because business is identifying people's needs, wants, and desires, and you bring a solution. So if a cryptocurrency was designed for the designers or for the creators to become wealthy and for other people to do not benefit, such cryptocurrencies will go through a process called delisting. So delisting is like any government saying that the goods that come from outside other countries to our countries, we need to check them if they meet the standards. Even later on, if they find out that the goods that you always sell are outdated, they no longer meet the standards to serve the general public, definitely you will be pulled down. It's the same thing with the delisting. So those are some of the scenarios where sport can be risky, but those scenarios are rare. But futures trading, since we trade in two directions, when you read and understand the language of the market, this is what should happen next. It's being shown here clearly. You decide either to buy or sell what you are trading. For example, Bitcoin. If you say that you're going to buy, buying means a long position. A long position means bullish, or you expect the currency to appreciate in value. That is what buy means. Sell means short position, market going down, bearish. So meaning that if Arafat, I trade Bitcoin and I say buy Bitcoin or Bitcoin long, and Bitcoin goes short, they are risks. The risks or the chances for me to lose my money start increasing. Because I said a long position, Bitcoin to go up, it's going down. Because in futures trading, our money is collateral. It's like saying that you have $500 or you have $1,000 and you invest in a business of kanzus and sharias. If Muslims do not buy those kanzus and sharias, my dear friend, you are at a loss. The chances of you losing your investment start becoming high because you invested $1,000 in kanzus and sharias, then you rented a place on a mall and you paid $200 for the rent of that month. But the month goes on and the month comes to an end without making a sale, meaning practically you have lost the $200 that you used as rent money. It's the same thing this side. So members, are we still together? Because I want to make sure that we move at a slow pace, but very clearly when you can testify that what coach is explaining, we are moving together. I'm seeing Madam Patricia has confirmed. I'm seeing Mr. Kamgisha Ivan. I'm seeing Mr. Francis and Mr. Joshua are confirming that they're getting the points. So now that is what I wanted to explain in the first place. So now they show you sport. First of all, they show you sport. Then they show you the available. Available. Available always means money that is on your crypto exchange, but is not active in the market. To show you this clearly, allow me to go back. We are going to see this information on the Utrading assets page. Let me explain it on the Utrading assets page here. Let me explain this basing on the Utrading assets page on the lower right-hand side. So if I click assets, everyone has this information. You will scroll down to the bottom of your screen. Mine is a Binance account. Yours might be a different account. So the available on my lower right-hand side is this. So let me first explain this. Capital, bought capital, available. It's always displayed on spot and futures. If on spot I had money, I would be seeing how much I have. So some exchanges do not have both spot and futures like Bybit or the OKX. They display both spot and futures as combined. But let me break it down. No matter whether it's Bybit and OKX showing futures and spot as combined, let me explain based on this, what we see. So now capital, what does the capital mean? Capital means the current money you have on your crypto exchange, the current. That is why your capital can't stay static at the same time. It has to change every now and then because the cryptocurrency market moves up and down every time. That is the nature of the financial markets. Even if it's a forex market, it has to move up and down. And through those movements, both up and down, that is where opportunities are presented for one to be profitable. Because if you look at the financial markets like the forex market, there is no option for holding. You only have to read, analyze, understand the language of the market, and you decide either to place a short or long position, or you place a buy order or the sell order. So available, you might come in the next 1 hour when it's 950. So whenever your capital increases, that shows the good performance of your trading pairs. If it reduces, it means that what we call floating loss is increasing on your account. If I say floating loss, I mean the unrealized profit and loss, or is abbreviated as the unrealized P&L. And that comes whenever the general market goes against your set trade direction. For example, you said buy BTC. That means Bitcoin long, and Bitcoin goes down. You'll have what we call the floating loss. So for the capital to increase, that means that you have less floating loss on your account and your profits are higher compared to the floating loss. You see your capital reducing, that's a sign, an indication of the floating loss being higher than your profits. Don't forget that the capital is the current money you always have on your crypto exchange. It can change anytime. So bought capital, what does bought capital mean? Bought capital means the amount of money the robot has used at that particular time to run your trades. Because you see my bought capital is 10, but we might come tomorrow when it's 12. And these are dollars. Everything that is displayed here, this is in dollars, USDT. So the 10.998 is the bought capital. How much money has the robot used to open my trading pairs or positions that I currently have on my account? And if I click bought here on the lower right hand side next to assets, you will see my trades that are running, meaning that all the trades that you see here on my Utrading bot page, only $10 were used to open these 5 trades I currently have on my account. So let me go back to the explanation. So bot capital indicates how much money the robot has used at that particular time to open your trades or running positions. Papa, mommy will beat you. Stop playing here. You sleep. So now we are going to see what we call available. So we are seeing our available is $830. So first thing first, available is part of your capital. All these, the bought capital and available, they're all part of your capital, your general capital. They're all part of it. It is like saying that you're a human being. Let's take an example on the prophets of God. Let's take an example. You might say, this person is kind, this person is generous, but all those are attributes of one person. Let's take an example of Mr. Joshua. We might say, if you're looking for generous people, Mr. Joshua is there. If you're looking for kind people, Mr. Joshua is there. If you're looking for God-fearing people, Mr. Joshua is there. So we can say the generous, the kindness, the God-fearing, they're all within Mr. Joshua. It is like saying a human body, the heart, the lungs, the intestines, the tongue, the nose, definitely the all part of man. If I say man, I also mean women. Don't say that a coach does not talk about women. Mankind. I'm meaning both men and women. It's the same for both capped and available. So the $830, they are part of the capital, but the available is money which is inactive in the market. Meaning that even if you withdraw some of this money, you do not affect your account in any way. If you are doing future, if you're doing spot trading, even if your available balance becomes zero, you shouldn't have any worry. If you are doing futures trading and your available balance becomes zero, there are over 90% chances that your account will be liquidated or it's already liquidated. Liquidation means the permanent loss of funds. So available is the money which the robot picks on also if it wants to enter the new positions. Or if you want to open new trades, you can use on the available balance to open the trades. So if you're using futures trading, when should you be worried? When should you be worried of your available balance? That's a very awesome question. Because not all the time you should be worried. My available, since coach said, you should be worried. You should only be worried when this happens. Let me give an example of an account of $1,000. If you have an account of $1,000 and your available balance becomes $300, we should be very keen. Meaning that if your portfolio, let us take a clear example by a calculator. If you have $1,000, let me first do this myself and I see if it's right. If your capital goes down by negative 70%, you should be very careful, meaning that it's always good to contact your upline, reach out on the WhatsApp group for the communication. Those that can reach out to me directly in my inbox, make sure that you reach out to me for more guidance. Why? Because when the available balance reduces, we need to see that does this reduction, when this reduction happens, is it affecting your account? Will it affect it in the long run? We need to look at such things. So meaning that if it goes down by negative 70, the $1,000 as capital, now you reach available. You see there $300 because negative 70, that is negative $700. $1,000 minus the 700, that becomes 300. Meaning that if that happens, you need to make sure that you start being cautious. It is like saying that, let me put this in real life. If Arafat, or you, my dear friend on this call, if you have $1,000 on your savings account or any account, maybe a bank account, maybe mobile money account, but you start using the $1,000, you pay rent, you pay your bills and other things. Then you work, but money is not coming. So the $1,000 become $300. Do you know that you start being cautious and say, Banange, money is reducing on me. What will I do when this $300 get done? This is where such things like the invest control come in. Because most people have been saying that, coach, because what you have been using in the first place previously, me, Arafat inclusive, we would advise people that please add money on your account. And at times you won't have money to add on. What will you do? That is where such strategies we use, the current strategy that we are using, that's where the strategies come in. The current strategy that we use, the best trading strategy on this YouTube page, it looks like this. This is where these trading strategies come in. First of all, if you're using this strategy, it will have applied the risk management. You'll have less worries with such a strategy. That comes first. Because strategies like automated trading, its nature, it places many market entries in the market. Well, these entries pick large volumes of money. Remember, the factor that I'm speaking about is for people doing futures. If you're doing automated spot, you shouldn't have any worry. But the risks are more into futures trading. But remember, I'm not saying futures trading is bad. If you apply risk management, it's very good. It's like that saying that every business is tough. Every business has its risks. But that shouldn't stop you from doing business. And you'd be discouraged that since very many people are failures in business, I won't proceed with business, because that is the nature of business. It is like life. You have to face those challenges. So it is the same thing this side. You really just need to understand, because if you are someone who wants to make the daily money, or if you want to earn daily, futures trading is the way. Because with futures trading, whether the market is up or down, you have more chances of making money compared to someone in sports. Every day, it's not a must that you will make. Let me make that clear. Every day you won't make, but at least minimally, averagely, with my experience with these financial markets, my 2.5 years experience with these financial markets and you trading, I can boldly say that you can minimally make 10% interest a month on your trading capital. Meaning that if you're having $1,000, 10%, this is $100. If you're having $10,000 times 10%, $1,000 interest. And to make this money, you don't need to be actively in the market every day. If you're working somewhere, you don't need to retire to make this money. That you have to first retire. That you have to be on your phone all the time. This strategy is sent once in the market, once a month. This is when we set the strategy, which is a very big opportunity. Do you know what it means to make 10%? Someone might say, Coach, that is small money. My dear friend, let us reflect on something. Let us reflect on something. There are very few businesses in this world where if your capital is $1,000, you can have $100 as interest after paying the workers. If you are paying them, if you're working for yourself, after clearing your bills, your food, the transport, the rent, there are very few businesses after investing in $1,000 can have $100 as interest and your capital is still around. Very few businesses that even can maintain that. You might maybe do it for 1 week, maybe 1 month, 3 months, but it's not sustainable. It's very hard. Very few businesses, because if there were very many, all of us would be having those businesses. But since we have tested, I'm not discouraging you, my dear friend. You can start, you can make it, but I'm trying to show you what is the honest thing. Most of the people are not making this. This is the fact. And very few can make this consistently. So now, if you trading really can give you that, that is don't lead to, and I've said that is the minimum. And I've seen some months making 30%, but I'm trying to be genuine with you. Because even I'm saying 10%, but there is a month you can make 5%. But since maybe some other month you made 30%, it will cover this 5% already. It will cover the 8%. Because some months you make 15%, 50%. They will cover these months that try to lag behind. So I was we're telling people, add on your money. Most people never had money and they ended up being liquidated. Even the strategies were really having high risks. But at that moment, that's the level of information God had given us. But again, He has given us more information. We have found more solutions. So now, what happens if your capital or your available balance becomes negative 70%? You have $1,000, your available balance becomes 300. You need to be cautious there. If you can send me a screenshot or send it on the group, the better. But I'm also going to give you practical solutions. So if you do not have money to add on in the first place, this is what you should do. You should make sure that you go to the invest control page so that you make some adjustments. Let me click invest control again. We are winding up by the members. We are winding up. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat room as we summarize, because we are finishing in the next 5 minutes. So here above on spot, let me click futures. Today, let us look at futures. More explanations will come in our next presentations, or the next presentation we shall have next Wednesday, 9 p.m. East African time. God willing, amen. So if I click futures up here, this is the invest control scale. Are you seeing? This is the scale. And everything is very clear. So now my USDT, we saw it's 800 and, was it 840? Because it's already here displayed by the robot. So if your scale, this scale is at 100%, it's draggable. 100% means that if the robot reaches a point of it wanting to use all the funds to open your positions or to maintain your positions in the market, it can use all the money. If the market is going against you, or it has gone against you by 70%, negative 70, your scale shouldn't be at 100. Because what you mean is use all the money. And that is something very bad to do at that moment. Why? Because you're saying that the $300 that I've said, use them. Meaning that if the robot uses all of them, you won't stay with any available balance, leading to liquidation. In Luganda, we have something they call okwerekeramu, meaning that you should have a backup. This is what they recommend to us. Maybe if you're being employed, have a backup. What if you're fired? If you're having a business, if you're having one source of income, if it dries up, what is going to happen? You will suffer. It's the same thing this side. So during that moment, you adjust your scale according to what we have explained to you. But if the market goes against you by negative 70, just tap on 50% on the scale. 50% means out of the $300 as my available balance, the robot should only use 50% of this money, which is $150. Meaning that you'll be left with $150 to maintain your positions. But for people like Arafat, I love my money so much, I don't want to lose. Because you might put it at 50%, the market continues. Some people delay to check your accounts. Maybe you're not like Arafat, who's only doing crypto. Because for me, I can check every hour. But for you, maybe you'll take some days, put the scale at 0%. You have no money to add. You see your account might be liquidated. Put it at 0%, because at 0, you're saying no more funds should be placed into the market. That's what 0% means. An order. No funds. It is like saying that the government has said that no cash should, or any person should cross this road or should use this road today. You have made your final decision. For me, Arafat, this is what I do if things go to the worst. And this is what has saved Arafat over the last 7 months, the liquidation that have happened. And all the people, this is what has saved them. For those that followed this advice. Because over the last 7 months, we can all testify people have committed suicide because of losing money in these financial markets, especially the cryptocurrency market. People have committed suicide. People have lost fortunes in a blink of an eye. We can all testify. We saw this happening. So now those are the things that really saved us. The invest control, things like that. Putting our skills at 0%. I can trade futures comfortably. So in our next session, Wednesday, 9 p.m. East African time, we are going to go deeper into more explanations. But the good thing is that today we have got a picture, we have got an explanation. I believe now you shouldn't be bothered. Coach, the market is taking. No matter which trading strategy, because some people might say, Coach Arafat, the 10% is not enough for me. It's okay, my dear friend. It's okay. Use other strategies that bring in much profits, but don't forget, the higher your profits come in, the higher your floating loss. Don't forget that. That's it. That's a fact. But I'm not discouraging. What I'm saying is that as you are getting the high profits, make sure you apply the invest control. Because it doesn't make sense for you to make $500 every day, but your account can't be there for a week, can't be there for a month, can't be there for 2 months. Meaning that, because for me, I've seen this practically. People have started with $10,000, but poor Arafat, I started with $300 when I know the first principle of investment, capital protection. People have lost billions of dollars. We have seen that. If you haven't gone, search on Twitter, search on any social media handle. Know how much people have lost. We used to get notifications. $500 billion have been liquidated. $10 billion. Poor Arafat, my $300 is there. Yeah, I'm happy. I get a problem, I withdraw. You can't withdraw for you with high risks. Because the moment you withdraw, your valuable balance will be left less. And at times, some people, now especially people that don't have Utrading, they don't have issues like the invest control, putting them in total danger. My dear friends, what can I say more? There is much to say, but allow me to stop here tonight. I thank God for what He has enabled us to share tonight. And I appreciate everyone who has made it a point to attend this session tonight. So, in a special way, allow me to thank and recognize the different members we have on this session. I'm seeing my two dear friends, the people I told you about in the start, people who always record for us these sessions. I'm seeing Mr. Joshua, who's recording this session tonight. I'm also seeing Mr. Buga, who recorded for us the part 7, which is the previous session of the Ultimate Trading technical session. So I'm seeing Mr. Bizimana, Honest. I'm seeing Mr. Bright, Olusegun. I'm seeing Mr. Francis Mutua. Mr. Francis also, by the doing very awesome. Really is doing very amazing. I get a chance to see his statuses every day. Really has promoted Utrading, has really ensured for people to understand this information. So we appreciate you so much. I'm seeing my great friend and leader, Madam Anisha. I'm seeing Mr. Kamugisha Ivan. I'm seeing Madam Charisima Penlock. Seeing Mr. Matthias Nokolo. I'm seeing Madam Patricia Twetese. Madam Patricia, really thank you very much. She's so active with our online sessions. And trust me, you're going to get value. You won't stay the same. So allow me to share my screen once again and we take this question. I'm seeing a question in the chat room. Mr. Bogas asked something. Let me share my screen so that we can see together. So he's saying, I'm sorry for joining late, but at least I grasped something in invest control. So meaning, like, if someone sees the market going down, one can set invest control. So invest control should be set, as I said, if the market goes against you by negative 70%, if your account is having $1,000 and your available balance is $300, then you can put your scale at 50%. If your account maybe is for $500, and your available balance becomes $150 or $200, then we should apply the invest control and pull the scale to 50%. But those that can always communicate on the group, make sure that you always send the screenshots of your Utrading assets page and the bot page. Those that can reach out to my inbox, we can always see, because I can see what your account has and I can tell you what you should do. That's the good thing, is that we can communicate with each other. I can really guide you on what to do best. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. You are going to allow me to end our session tonight here. I really don't know if it's a mistake or if Madam Anisha, you have a question. I really don't know if you're having a question. If you're having a question, you can unmute your microphone and ask the question. Are you having any question, Madam Anisha? Okay.
I don't have any question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, members, thank you very much for appreciating. See you Wednesday, 9 p.m. East African time. Make sure don't leave out other members next time. Invite your downline, your uplines, the investors, invite the marketeers, so that we can get this information. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a blessed night. Let's meet at the top, because the bottom is crowded and we have much space to all succeed. See you at the top. Have a great night. Bye-bye.